I'll just give you my synopsis is we played hard. You know, we've been playing with good energy. And, you know, if you do three things in this league, I'm talking about defensively, which is our struggle, obviously. If you can defend without fouling, which takes discipline and technique, okay, which I would dare say that outside of 2 or 3 other teams, nobody works on it more, talks about it more than we do. If you'll run back on defense every time, which takes zero talent, there's nothing that takes less talent in basketball than running back on defense. And if we'll block out with physicality on every shot. So if you are, say, top 7 or 8 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in not fouling, of which we're like 28th, and then you're top 10 in transition defense, all of those things take not a lot of talent. They do take physicality, they take effort, and you got to be smart about it. And, you know, tonight, you know, it's the same thing. There's 2 things. One, they shot 30 free throws, and they're fouls. You know, and you know what? I would take that crew every night. I'll be honest. We did not get a good whistle, and I don't usually say that. I mean, the 50-50 calls all went against us to me in the second half. I told one of the officials that after the game, I would take that crew every night. I respect all 3 of them. I think they're good together. We got the short end of the stick tonight, okay? And that happens. But that's not why we lost. We lost because we're not physical enough. We don't run long. We get outworked on the glass. We foul. I mean, look at it. We had 2 ridiculous fouls at the end of the second quarter, right in the paint, where guys are going to shoot contested like 10, 12-foot shots, which is exactly what you want them to do. We fouled twice. So that's 4 points, which is a big deal, okay? They had 22 second chance points again. I mean, one of the reasons our defensive numbers are so bad is that. 31 in Brooklyn, 22 today. I mean, you know, so when you're watching the film and you're trying to figure out what's the problem, that's the problem. And so it's as simple as that. You know, my message to the guys is this. I like coaching this team. But we have to understand what wins in the NBA, okay? Every year, there's 1 or 2 teams that are just going to go all in on trying to play offense. They're not physical. They don't do the dirty things. You know, they don't want to do the tough things. And you know what? They get to either the playoffs or the play-ins, and they get their asses kicked because it doesn't work in our league. This is fact. You go back the last 24 years. Oh, you know what? I don't want to say it's fact. I'm 99.9% sure on this. There's only been 2 teams that ever won the championship that weren't top 10 in defense. There's been a few that weren't top 10 in offense. Defense travels. Defense gives you an identity. Defense brings your team together, okay? It's what you have to do if you want to win, okay? This is not a league, even though the scores are higher. You know, if you think about offense in the last 15 years here, who would you think of? Splash Brothers. And every year they won it, they were top 5 in defense, okay? You got to be good in both. And we're not going to win until we decide that we want to do that we'll run back every time. And I told them, I feel bad because we're putting so much into it, and we're getting a lot better. There's so much of it that we're doing so much better. And it's not going to matter if we're not going to do the hard things, and we're not going to do the tough things, okay? And we're not going to be the first to hit, the first to run down a long rebound, more guys willing to take a charge, more guys willing to dive on the floor. It's not the way pro basketball works, okay? This isn't nearly about talent or injuries as much as how we play. You have to have a game that makes sense in the league. Ours makes sense most of the time at one end. You know, we're like, you know, after tonight, we'll probably be close to a little bit less than, you know, 16, 17 in offense. But that's really because we've had 3 games where we were just awful, okay? For the most part, we've been good offensively. Defensively, we might be last or 29th or something like that. It's because of those things. And those things, to me, you can clean that up in one day. You can clean it up in one day. We've done it enough. We worked on it enough. And that's what we got to get to, okay? Now, that being said, my last thing, no questions I'm going to say is this. I'm the one that's in charge of that, okay? So I'm not blaming the players. I'm just telling you where we're at. The coach is in charge of those areas, the coach and the team leaders. That's the way the NBA works, too. I need help, too. But if we get to that, we're going to have a chance to take off here, okay, and have a really good year. And if we don't, there's going to be more nights like this where we're fun to watch and this and that. But to be honest with you, if you're being honest, and you're an NBA people would watch that tonight and say, boy, they're doing a good job of offense, they're going nowhere. just like I do when I watch teams that try to play like that. You're not winning in this league. That's the one thing I do know.